Blessings of love and joy. I am the Reverend High Priest Ancient Wolf, or you may call me Reverend Daniel. This is the first of my video ministry series. I come to you today on the autumn equinox to talk to you about the most important subject, the subject of love. I will probably have many videos on love before I'm called to what's next. However, for the purpose of this video, I want to focus on what Yeshua, whom you probably know as Jesus, had to say about love. Yeshua is an important figure to many people living on this planet today. Many people see him as a savior who died for their sins. Others see him as a great prophet who had an important message. Yet others see him as an embodiment of God, similar to Krishna, Siddhartha, and others. There are still many other people who views about him rate him anywhere from average human to God himself. Whichever way you see him, his message of love is the same. And it's still an important one. It's a message that has been echoed by holy men throughout history and across the globe. It is the simple message of the power of love. To see what Yeshua said about love, we can turn to one of the few sources that claim to have any of his sayings written down. In this case, we turn to the Christian Bible. All verses in this video are taken from the New Revised Standard Version. In this case, we turn to the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 34 through 40. Yeshua is approached by a Pharisee, a lawyer, who asks him, trying to test him, asks him which of Moses' commandments are the greatest, which of the laws of Moses are the greatest. His response in verse 37 through 40 is, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your soul and all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the laws and all the prophets." So Yeshua is saying that first and foremost, we should love God. However, he then goes on to basically say, let me put it in another way. To love God, you have to love one another. He then says that all the laws and all the writings of the prophets boil down to these two commandments. In Matthew 25, starting at verse 31, which I don't have time to read in its entirety, so I will summarize. Yeshua talks about the end of times, and who will be considered righteous and who will be considered unrighteous. He ultimately says that whoever fed him when he was hungry, clothed him when he was naked, welcomed him as a stranger, visited him when he was sick or in prison, those are who are the righteous. When asked when anyone has had an opportunity to do any of these things for him, he answers with the memorable phrase, "Truly, I tell you, just as you did it to the least of these who are members of my family, you did it to me." So here Yeshua calls everyone my family instead of your neighbors. However, the message is the same. If we take care of one another when it is needed, and we are doing so out of a heart of love, then we are glorifying God. This is the message of almost every major religion. The Hindus have a particularly interesting take on it, where everyone is God collectively. But that'll hopefully be the subject of a future video ministry. For an expanded primer on what it means to love one another, I recommend the Sermon on the Mount as further reading. It is found in the Christian Bible in the book of Matthew, chapters 5, 6, and 7. Even if you don't believe that Yeshua existed at all, the message of love is an important one, and it's important to you. Acting out of love is beneficial for the mutual survival of our species and other species on the planet. Hunter-gatherer societies, past, present, and probably future, use this principle. at least on some level, for living. If they have something in excess, they will share it. They share it both so that it doesn't go to waste, and because they know if they share with others, others will eventually share with them. A truly advanced society of any sort knows that every member of society has a value of some kind or another. In such a society, people would take care of one another just because love has conquered their fear, and they know they will always have what they need. Many religious and political leaders throughout history have envisioned such a society, including Yeshua. The early Christians even started to build such a society until the Roman Empire took over the reins of Christianity. This is seen in Acts chapter 2, verses 44 and 45. You should read the whole chapter yourself. But for the time, I'll read these verses. All who believed were together and had all things in common. They would sell their possessions and goods and distribute the proceeds to all as any had need. So basically they had a bit of a communist society going, and it worked really well for them. And then the Romans took over. It is a great sin today that Yeshua's message is most often used to support those who would see the greediest, least loving people have the most power and control over our lives. The message of the ages and the message of Yeshua is that of love and caring for one another. Only then does society truly work. At the same time, I am not advocating communism. I'm not advocating for any political system, nor for a lack of one, because that is not the focus of my ministry. The focus of my ministry is simply to spread the message of love to everyone, everywhere, that we may all live in a better society, whatever political shape we give it. If you would like to write to me with questions or prayer requests, please write to Reverend Daniel George, P.O. Box 422, Atascadero, California 93423. You may also email me at ancientwolf@hotmail.com. Put Reverend Daniel in the subject line of emails. Blessings of love and joy to you all, and namaste.